Elon Musk desperastos por 3 días hasta el Black Millonario revelar dónde su hija. Jack Reynolds no sabía cómo ocurrió. Un minuto, su hija Emma estaba allí, viva, riéndose, texteándole desde la cocina. Después, nada. Gone. 3 días de caos. 3 días de hacer huir sus manos a través de su cabello. Corazón se canta anoche. Suddenly feeling like a cold prison. The news spread fast. Headlines screamed about the desperate billionaire father hunting through the cold streets for answers. Jack was rich, the kind of rich that keeps people out of your business, or so he thought. Silver spoons, designer invitations, endless parties. None of that mattered now. His world cracked open, exposing cracks filled with fear and raw, awful truth. But then, on the 3rd day, a whisper broke the silence. An unexpected call from a shadowy figure. A black billionaire, unknown to most, but someone who carried a weight just as heavy as Jack's. The man claimed he knew where Emma was. Not just a kidnapper. No, a puppeteer, pulling threads tied tight around Jack's own past. A past that refused to stay buried beneath the glitz and gold. Jack's heart slammed against his ribs as he listened. This man, enigmatic and cold, held secrets like weapons. The kidnapper wasn't just some random criminal. He was a ghost from a world Jack tried to escape. A childhood stained with betrayal, money stolen from broken families, and battles fought in boardrooms and back alleys alike. The city around him felt alive with whispers. Curious onlookers in crisp suits and expensive dresses eyed Jack as if he'd lost more than his daughter. He lost control. The police hit walls. No calls, no ransoms, only silence. Except for the booming fear gnawing at Jack's gut. Meanwhile, the kidnapper sat in a fortress of glass and steel, weighing the cost of his game, risking everything to protect his family, while holding a child hostage for reasons no one could guess. A cruel game of chess with lives tangled and stakes sky high. Then, just as Jack thought he was closing in, when hope flickered brighter, a message appeared. Anonymous, dark, cryptic. A warning or a trap? The words stabbed into Jack's confusion. What you don't know will burn you. Trembling, Jack stared at the screen, fingers too shaky to type. He was caught in a maze of power, pain, and buried sins. How far would he go to face this monster? The man who might be a mirror of his own broken past. And what secrets would spill when they finally stood face to face? The clock was ticking. The city held its breath. And Jack, he was running out of time. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact! Jack's heart raced as he stared at the message, palms sweaty against the screen of his phone. What you don't know will burn you. It replayed in his mind, echoing like a drum beat of dread. Suddenly, the shadows seemed longer, darker, pressing in on him. He could feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. But one thought ignited a flicker of rebellion within him. He couldn't let fear paralyze him. He needed answers. Maybe this man was the key. But who was he really? And what did he have to do with Emma? Jack barely had a chance to gather his racing thoughts when his phone buzzed again. This time an incoming call from a number he didn't recognize. ... He hesitated, the lump in his throat swelling again. With a sharp breath, he swiped to answer. "Jack Reynolds," he said, voice tight with urgency. "Glad you picked up," came the voice from the other end. It was low, calm, almost chilling. "We need to meet." "Who are you?" Jack's chest tightened. "Where's my daughter?" "All in good time, but we can't do this over the phone. Meet me at the old pier by sunset. Alone." The line dropped, leaving a hollow silence that stretched between breaths. Time slipped away like the tide, and Jack's mind, now a whirlpool of fear and anger, raced toward the pier. The setting sun cast eerie shadows on the cracked wood. Every footstep felt weighted with dread. The wind howled around him, as if carrying his deepest fears away to sea. And then he saw him, a tall figure, cloaked in dark, blending with the shadows of the old structure. The man turned, and Jack's heart sank. It was not just any stranger. It was Charles Harris, a name that echoed through the halls of his past. The black billionaire he'd heard about, the one who knew the ins and outs of his broken history. "What are you doing here?" Jack growled, fists clenched at his sides. "Where's Emma?" "I'm not your enemy, Jack," Charles replied, voice smooth yet firm. "I came because I have something you need to know." Jack narrowed his eyes, adjusting to the reality of the situation. "Then tell me, what the hell is going on?" Charles hesitated, looking around as if fear itself lurked within reach. "It's about her and you. There are things you don't know." "Enough with the riddles!" Jack shouted, anger spilling over. But then he froze, a thought hitting him hard. "What do you mean, it's about me?" Charles took a step forward, the tension thick enough to suffocate. "Your past isn't what you think. There's a reason she's taken. You need to understand. It's because of who you really are." "What does that mean?" Jack's stomach twisted. "It means you're not just a wealthy businessman. You're part of something much darker." Before Jack could process this revelation, a loud crash echoed from beyond the pier, shocking them both into a standstill. A black SUV skidded to a stop, tires screeching against the pavement. Armed men leaped out, shouting orders as chaos erupted. "Jack, we need to move now!" Charles yelled, grabbing Jack's arm. But as they turned to escape, a figure emerged from the shadows. A girl, unmistakably Emma, her eyes wide with terror. Jack's breath hitched. But then he saw something else behind her, a familiar face that he never expected to see. It was Laura, his long-lost sister, thought dead for years. "How?" Jack's voice trembled, confusion drowning him as rumors of betrayal and hidden truths churned in his mind. Emma cried out, "Help me, Dad! Please, help us!" And in that moment, everything shattered. Who he thought he was, the world he'd built, suddenly felt like smoke and mirrors. The truth was more twisted than he could ever imagine, and it was all crashing down around him, leaving him gasping for air. The timer had started, counting. How far would he go to save his daughter? What price was he willing to pay? Jack stared at the ominous message, heart racing, pulse pounding in his ears. What you don't know will burn you. It felt like a threat and a promise all at once. He took a deep breath, fingers trembling, trying to control the whirlwind of fear twisting in his gut. He glanced around, the city a blur of flashing lights and shadowy figures. Those suits and designer dresses now stood as judgment. What would they think if they knew the truth? The shadows in his past clawed at him. Memories flickered, broken promises, late-night fights, faces that had haunted him for years. He'd spent so long running from his origins, trying to erase the grimy fingerprints of a childhood that never let him go. But now, staring into the abyss of his daughter's kidnapping, Jack felt the weight of those very past misdeeds pulling him back, dragging him down into darkness. Suddenly, his phone vibrated again. A video link. His breath hitched. Could it be? He tapped it, eyes glued to the screen, praying for a glimpse of Emma. Instead, an image popped up. A childhood photo of him. That scar above his left eyebrow. A reminder of reckless choices from days long gone. But then, the screen shifted and a figure emerged, eyes sharp and clear. Jack's stomach dropped. "You think you can just walk away?" The voice was deep, captivating, every word pulling Jack deeper into a familiar dread. The man in the frame leaned closer, the unmistakable image of his father's old business rival, dark glasses hiding eyes filled with venom. "I've been waiting for this moment." Jack's mind raced. How could this be? Dom Turner, the man who had taken everything from his family. The last face he wanted to see. The man was supposed to be gone forever, buried under a mountain of failed ambitions and bad investments. "Don't pretend you don't remember," Dom continued, voice dripping with malice. "You and we have unfinished business." The screen blurred for a second as Jack fought back tears, the past crashing into the present with violent force. Did Dom have Emma? No, no way. He couldn't let himself go there. "What do you want?" Jack's voice came out as a hoarse whisper. "This isn't about you anymore," Dom smirked. "It's about Emma. She's a pawn in this game, Jack, a chance to settle old scores. But there's more." Jack's breath seized. What could be more? Dom's face twisted into a more sinister grin. "You think you're the only one with secrets? Emma has her own ties to this world, much deeper than you ever realized." Jack's heart sunk, his thoughts swirling. Could it be true? What had he kept hidden from his daughter? What had he failed to share? The darkness of his past had somehow seeped into her life without him knowing. A loud crash echoed as the phone slipped from Jack's hands, crashing against the pavement. The screen shattered, but the words echoed in his mind. He staggered back, gasping for air, mind ablaze with horrific possibilities. A crowd had gathered, eyes wide with curiosity, murmurs bouncing off the walls. Jack turned, searching for answers, but all he found were stares of pity and fear. He was losing control, not just of the situation, but of everything he thought he knew about his life, his daughter. Then, a shout from the crowd pierced through, chilling Jack to the bone. "Is that true? Jack Reynolds' daughter, the one they're calling a missing person? She's connected to Dom Turner?" Shock rippled through him, every eye locking onto him. The stakes had suddenly escalated. The harsh light of truth began to burn away illusions. Jack was trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. What did he truly know about the daughter he had fought so hard to protect? More importantly, how far would he go to uncover answers now swirling in shadows, heavier than he'd ever imagined? The clock was ticking, and every second brought him closer to a horrifying revelation. Jack felt the ground drop out from beneath him. The murmurs from the crowd faded into a muted buzz, shadows melding into the background. Dom's twisted grin haunted him, each word like a slap against his chest. She's connected to Dom Turner? He could hardly breathe, heart racing. Emma was in danger. The adrenaline shot through him. He had to save her, but the walls were closing in. Every eye was on him, judging, whispering, dissecting. Panic on his face, he searched the crowd for any sign of her, but all he found were unfamiliar faces. Then, another sound broke through the chaos, a sharp, blaring horn. Jack turned just in time to see the black SUV, still parked, starting to roll towards them. Panic surged to new heights. "Run!" he screamed, urging everyone to scatter. And just as he was about to grab Charles to escape, a loud boom echoed. The SUV exploded. The sky lit up with fire and smoke, sending debris flying. People screamed. Some fell to the ground. The acrid smell of burning rubber and gasoline filled the air. Jack shielded his face, stumbling backward. And when he looked up through the haze, everything felt twisted, surreal. For a split second, he thought of Emma. Was she safe? Where was she? Could this be another cruel game? His mind spun like a tornado. Dom's face from the video replayed. What did he truly mean about Emma? Through the smoke, he saw a familiar silhouette. His sister Laura. She was standing there, eyes wide with shock. The confusion in Jack's heart turned to a sharp pang of fear. What was she doing here? Had she really been alive all this time? "Jack!" she shouted, voice clear and panicked, cutting through the chaos. "We have to leave now!" She reached for him, but before he could take a step, the crowd surged forward, frantically trying to escape the blast zone. Confusion erupted. People stumbled over one another. Cries of pure terror echoed in the chaos. "Laura, wait!" he yelled. But she was already being swept away by the rushing crowd. Heart racing, Jack fought against the tide, desperation fueling every step. He couldn't lose her again, not after all those years of feeling lost, thinking she was gone forever. Then something caught his eye, a flicker of movement at the edge of the pier. A figure with striking familiarity. Someone stepping out from the shadows. Could it be? No, it couldn't be. Jack froze. It was Emma. She was standing there, unharmed, staring right at him, with eyes wide open, tears streaking down her cheeks. But next to her was someone else, Dom Turner. His heart clenched fiercely as he pushed through the chaos, drawn toward Emma, horrified but desperate to reach her. "Get away from her!" he yelled, rage surging. The world narrowed down to Eric's icy gaze, that smile again, twisted with malice. And in that moment, everything shattered into a million pieces. Emma lifted her hand, and Jack's breath caught. She wasn't just trapped. She was holding something. A small, shining object glinted in her palm. Time seemed to slow as she raised it, voice trembling but firm. "Dad, You need to understand. I chose to protect it. What? His mind raced, the words hanging in the air like a weight, crushing him. The realization hit him like a tidal wave. You can't be serious, he whispered, shaking his head slowly. You're part of this? The crowd was a whirlwind around him, but all he could see was Emma's face, filled with fear, determination, and something else he couldn't place. Was she a pawn too? Or was there more than he understood? In an instant, the truth began to unravel, and he was left grappling with darkness, not only from his past, but from his own daughter. The crowd kept screaming. The smoke thickened. Everything felt like it was closing in. All Jack could do was stare in disbelief. What had he missed? What had she done? His voice cracked as he shouted, desperate for answers. Emma, what are you saying? And just as everything threatened to spiral into chaos, a chilling realization struck him. The boundaries of trust had crumbled. Each secret, each betrayal, each shadow now danced dangerously close. No one was safe. Not him, not Emma, not anyone. Was he too late to pull her back from the brink? The truths tangled tighter, a web of unknowns wrapping around them as Jack fought through the crowd, racing against time, against fate, and against the very daughter he thought he knew. Jack's breath hitched in his throat as he read the ominous message. What you don't know will burn you. His fingers trembled over the screen, a mix of anger and fear swirling in his gut. The silence around him felt deafening, the city buzz fading into a chaotic backdrop. Time was slipping, like grains of sand. He turned, pacing his luxurious penthouse, eyes darting toward the windows. The Los Angeles skyline was beautiful, yet menacing, a stark reminder of everything at stake. He felt the weight of every minute ticking away, each second a reminder of Emma's absence. His daughter, his little girl. Just then, his phone rang again. The same unknown number. Adrenaline surged. This could be it. The lifeline he desperately needed. He answered, his voice shaky. Hello? A deep voice responded, calm, yet dripping with authority. Jack, you've played the game well, but it's time for the truth. What do you want? Jack barked, the raw edge of panic spilling into his words. Where is she? Your daughter is safe. For now. But we need to talk, the man replied, a sly undertone creeping in. Jack's heart raced. Meet me at the boulevard. And if I refuse? Jack's stomach twisted. Then you may never see her again. The line clicked dead, leaving Jack staring at the screen, the neon city lights flashing like a beacon of despair. He gathered his thoughts, hurriedly slipping on a jacket, pocketing his phone, and bolting toward the door. The boulevard was far from his usual haunts, the kind of swanky place where deals were made and secrets lingered like smoke. The drive was a blur. Lights zipped past, his mind racing with possibilities. Should he go alone? What if this was a trap? But every fiber in his being pushed him forward. Emma needed him. He arrived, heart pounding, pushing through the crowd that filled the trendy cafe. The atmosphere buzzed with chatter, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. Jack searched, gripping his phone like a lifeline. Then he saw him, dressed sharply, cool confidence radiating off him. The black billionaire. They locked eyes, and time seemed to freeze. Jack felt a rush of recognition. How could he know this man? But that was impossible. "Jack," the man said, sliding into a booth, "you look just like him." "Like who?" Jack snapped, rage bubbling up. "Your father." The words hit like a punch to the gut. Jack stumbled back, clenching the edge of the table for support. "What do you mean?" "You don't remember me, do you?" The man's gaze was steady, almost mocking. "You never wanted to look back." The walls around Jack felt like they were closing in. The music faded. Around him, people chatted cheerfully, unaware of the storm brewing. Memories surged. Shadowy figures, whispered conversations, promises broken. "What were you talking about?" Panic swirled in his chest. "What does this have to do with Emma?" "Everything." The man's voice dropped lower, charged with a mix of sympathy and disdain. "You're tied to a past you can't escape. And so is she." "What do you mean? What's happening?" The man leaned in, a grin creeping onto his lips. Your secrets don't just burn you, Jack. They burn everyone around you. Your daughter doesn't just hold your past. She's part of it." Jack's world erupted. Everything he thought he knew twisted into chaos. The fear for Emma erupting into a panic-laden realization. He couldn't just save her. He had to confront the truth buried deep in his past. The clock was ticking faster now. Every moment felt heavier as he wrestled with the shocking revelation. This conversation had just turned into a nightmare. Jack was running out of time, not just to save his daughter, but to save himself. Just as Jack sat there, heart racing, staring at that ominous message, a sudden blare of his phone shattered the silence. It was the kidnapper. He didn't even have to think before answering. "Where is she?" Jack's voice was strained, fear twisting inside him like a knife. "Not so fast, Jack." The voice was smooth, almost mocking. "You want answers? I'll give them to you. But first, you need to understand your past before it catches up with your present." "What do you mean?" Jack's mind raced, the urgency wrapped around him like a vice. "Just tell me where Emma is." A chilling laugh echoed through the phone. "You remember a little place called Walker's Hill, your family's old estate? You think money buys resilience, but it can't escape the ghosts of yesterday." Jack's breath caught in his throat. Walker's Hill, a place he'd buried deep, a painful remnants of his childhood that he'd covered with wealth and luxury. Memories slid through his mind, flashbacks of haunted halls and whispered secrets. "What do you have to do with Walker's Hill?" "Everything," the kidnapper replied, the words heavy. "You can't hide from the past, Jack. Your family is as twisted as mine. And this time, it's going to cost you more than you can imagine." Jack's heart sank. Was he tangled in a game where he'd become the pawn? A hideous weight settled over him, pressing against his chest. "What do you want?" "Let's just say your family's history has a way of coming back, especially when it involves my brother and your lies." "Brother?" Jack spluttered. Anger boiled within him. He hadn't known about any brother. Not this brother, anyway. "Ah, yes, you didn't know, did you? The brother you left in the dust while you danced in your new life? While you played the perfect family man?" Jack felt the floor drop away. Was this some sick game? "What are you talking about?" "Your daughter's safety hangs in the balance." A pause. And your sins are about to be laid bare. Meet me at Walker's Hill by midnight, or you might lose her forever. Jack felt sick. He stumbled back, the phone slipping from his grip. His mind spun. This wasn't just a simple ransom. This was a revelation, a sickening twist that threatened everything he believed. Footsteps echoed behind him. Jack turned, eyes wide, panic surging. It was his wife, Sarah, tears streaming down her face. "Jack, I heard you talking. Please tell me what's going on." But he was gasping in horror, his own thoughts racing. "Sarah, who is this brother? What does he mean about my past?" She froze, horror etched into her features. "You don't know, do you?" "What don't I know?" Jack shouted. The foundations of his life felt shaky, crumbling beneath him. "Jack, I should have told you sooner." Her voice cracked, the truth hanging in the air like poison. About what? His heart was a drum, pounding louder than his fear. "Your brother, he's not just your brother too." Jack stumbled back, his blood turning to ice. "No! No!" Tension rippled through the room. En las bolas se cayeron de colgar. El choque corrió tanto maniquería como el gato. ¿Lo mentiste más todo este tiempo? Sarah's eyes glistened with panic. "I thought I could protect you both." En ese momento, la verdad se cumplía, llenando la mente la vida, que Jack creyó conocido y confiaba. Todo se sintió como un casílabo en 12. The clock was ticking, and Jack realized he wasn't just fighting for Emma. He was fighting for everything. Family, truth, and a past he thought he'd left behind. Would he sacrifice it all to save her? Midnight was approaching, and the night was hiding deadly secrets. Jack's breath hitched as he reread that cryptic message. "What you don't know will burn you." His mind raced, fingers trembling over the screen. Could it be a warning or a trap? His heart thundered in his chest, drowning out the world around him. He stared into the midnight darkness, fighting to make sense of the swirling chaos. The shadows in his mind shifted, revealing ghosts, old friends, bitter enemies, all dancing around the edges of his memories. But before Jack could spiral deeper, his phone rang again. The same number. It was the mysterious billionaire, a name he still couldn't fully grasp. Desperation clawed at him, and he answered, the voice on the other end sharp and deliberate. "I know what you've done, Jack. This is more than just a game for you. Your past, it isn't buried. It's hunting you," the voice coldly pronounced. "What do you mean?" Jack's voice cracked, panic creeping in. "What do you know about Emma?" The silence on the line felt heavy, pressing against him like a tidal wave. Then, suddenly, the billionaire spoke again, but this time, his voice shifted, deepened, softened, and morphed into something eerily familiar. Jack's heart sank. "Your real family? They aren't who you think they are." A sickening chill ran through him, as if ice water filled his veins. "What are you talking about?" Jack's voice trembled. Memories flashed, hidden documents, hushed conversations, a family tree riddled with secrets. "The truth is, you were never adopted, Jack. Your real father, he's the man behind your fortune. He's the reason your daughter is in danger," the voice revealed. Each word felt like a hammer striking his skull. Jack's breath hitched as he processed the implications. "No, it can't be. Jack's throat tightened. Every moment of his past came crashing down. His carefully constructed life felt like a house of cards under a gust of wind. You're lying. Am I? Your connections, your enemies, they know you're a pawn, Jack, and they'll take your daughter unless you play their game. There was a pause, then a low chuckle that sent shivers crawling down Jack's spine. But it's not just about Emma. You've got bigger demons to face. Jack flushed hot with rage and confusion. Who are you? He demanded, the question bursting from him in a rush. What twisted reality was he trapped in? The city outside faded into a blur, a backdrop for this horrifying twist of fate. The voice hesitated, the words rolling off like thunder. Your brother, he's still alive. You left him behind. Like a knife to the gut, those words cut deep. Jack felt the ground shift beneath him. His brother, who he thought had perished in the flames of history, the one he'd buried away, forgotten in time. No, I would have known. Would you? You didn't even know your father was still watching. They're coming for you, Jack. All of them. And Emma? She's the leverage. Suddenly, the line went dead. A hollow silence filled the air. Jack stumbled back, the revelation smashing through him with brutal force. Everything he thought he understood about his past, his family, shattered like glass. Around him, the city buzzed on, oblivious to the storm brewing deep within him. But something in Jack shifted. The fear morphed into a fierce urgency. He had to uncover the truth, not just for Emma, but to confront the monsters of his own past. Time was not on his side. As he stepped out onto the street, determination surged through him. The whispers of the city echoed in his ears. Jack was no longer just a desperate father. He was a man on the edge, ready to confront his history. But as the neon lights flickered around him, he felt a distant echo. Footsteps shadowing him. Was it the kidnapper or something darker? The night was alive with secrets, and he was diving in head first. Jack stepped into the bustling night, heart pounding, feet moving before he could think. The city was alive, neon lights shimmering, cars honking like a frantic symphony around him. But all of that faded as he wandered deeper into his thoughts, the implications of the call gnawing at him. He needed to find Emma. Time was short. With every step, shadows seemed to whisper past him. Faces faded and blurred. Jack pushed through the throngs of people, anxiety buzzing under his skin, until a sudden scream pierced the night air. He froze. It came from an alley to his right, raw and desperate. Jack's instincts twisted within him. Without thinking, he dashed toward the sound, his heart racing even faster now. Every muscle in his body screamed for him to hurry, but the tension held him back. The closer he got, the louder the chaos echoed. Turning the corner, Jack stumbled into a scene that would change everything. There, illuminated by a flickering street lamp, was a group of figures, pushing and shoving. They didn't notice him at first, focused on the girl caught in the middle, Emma. She was there, her arms flailing, eyes pleading for help. "Emma!" Jack shouted, instinct unchecked as he charged forward. Suddenly, the chaos erupted into screams. One of the men turned, acknowledging Jack, with cold eyes, and with a swift movement, he raised a weapon. Fear gripped Jack's chest tight as he skidded to a stop. Just as the man pulled the trigger, another figure one step ahead lunged in, colliding with Emma. A blinding flash lit up the scene, almost surreal. Jack blinked, seconds stretching into eternity, and then everything went dark. When the world returned, it was quiet, eerily, horrifyingly quiet. Jack's vision cleared, his heart still racing, adrenaline flooding his body. The clash between the figures, the gunshot, it felt like a nightmare, but there, above everything, Jack saw two figures on the ground, Emma and the silhouette of a body sprawled next to her. Time slowed again. Jack's stomach twisted. That shadowy figure, not just anyone. It was Dom Turner, his enemy. But something was wrong. Dom wasn't just lying there. Blood pooled around him, spreading into the darkness. The weight of realization hit Jack like a freight train. Jack rushed forward, confusion reigning. "Get up! Get up!" he shouted, fear squeezing his throat. He knelt beside them, frantically checking for signs. But Dom's eyes were glassy, fading. Then Emma groaned, stirring and raising her head. "Dad," she mumbled, her voice raspy. "What happened?" Jack couldn't answer, his heart racing. "Emma, are you okay?" "Get away from him!" she gasped, pushing Jack back. "He's not what you think." The words hung in the air like a thick fog. Jack glanced at Dom, the man he'd seen as nothing but a monster. But now confusion raged within him, battling with fear. Maybe this was more than vengeance. "What do you mean?" he pressed, trying to keep his voice steady. Then, as if igniting a bomb, Emma's expression twisted into something Jack had never seen. Anger, betrayal, despair, all rolled into one. "This isn't what you think, Dad. Dom, he's protecting us. He was trying to save me." Just then, Dom coughed, blood splattering on the pavement. His hand weakly reached toward Jack. "You need to listen. Everything is connected. It's always been." Jack felt the world tilt. His heart raced as he took a step back. "What are you saying?" Panic seeped through his voice. "Your past, it's not over," Dom rasped, gasping for breath. "You're all in danger. More than you know." Jack shook his head, trying to process this web of horror. If Dom was speaking the truth, if he wasn't the enemy but the protector, had he lost everything again? Would he lose Emma now too? Just as the gravity of it all fell over him, a distant siren sounded. Time was running out, and he realized the truth twisted through him like a knife. Nothing was as it seemed. "Jack," Emma called, her voice fragile yet insistent. "You have to believe me. We don't have much time." With the night closing in and sirens wailing, Jack's world spun. He glanced between the fading Dom and Emma, dangerous secrets weighing down every breath. The clock was ticking, and they were teetering on the edge of something profound. Only what lay ahead was a mystery that would change everything. Jack knelt beside the crumpled bodies, breath hitching in his throat. Emma's eyes glistened with fear, her voice shaking. "He's protecting us," she gasped, desperation driving her words. But how could she believe that? Dom's blood pooled beneath him, staining the concrete, the air thick with tension, confusion bubbling like a boiling pot. "Emma, focus!" Jack insisted, heart racing. The sound of sirens drew closer, but the sense of urgency wrapped around them like a tightening noose. "We need to get you out of here, now!" But Emma shook her head, eyes wide. "You don't understand. He's my—" A sudden roar of laughter echoed from the shadows, cutting through the chaos. They turned, shock flooding through them. A group of men stepped forward, faces illuminated by the flickering streetlight. One of them was familiar. It was the man from Jack's past, the very one he had hoped he would never see again. "Jack Reynolds," the man sneered, stepping into the light. His grin was tainted with malice. "You've come a long way to find your daughter, haven't you?" "Who the hell are you?" Jack demanded, hands clenching tightly into fists. Fear clashed with anger. He wouldn't show weakness. The man chuckled darkly. "You really don't remember me? I've been in the shadows of your life ever since you abandoned your brother." Jack's stomach twisted. "What does he have to do with this? Where's my brother?" "Ah, your brother, destined to be more than just a memory." The man took a step closer. "He's the reason you're here tonight, and the reason Emma's life is in our hands." "Stop playing games," Jack shouted, frustration boiling over. "What do you want? Want? Haha. Oh, it's not about want anymore. It's about what's been taken," the man said, voice dripping with honeyed venom. "You see, Jack, your family has been at war for generations, and the stakes are always—" Suddenly, a sharp crack pierced the air. A gunshot, ringing like a bell in the still night. Jack's heart dropped as he turned back to Emma, only to see her eyes widen in horror. The shot hadn't aimed at him. Dom reacted instinctively, his hand shooting out in a protective gesture. Jack watched in frozen dread as the impact knocked Dom back, the life fading from his eyes. Emma screamed, a raw sound that pierced the night like a knife. "Dad!" Jack lunged forward just as the realization hit him like a freight train. The assailant wasn't just aiming for Dom. ... This was the moment everything could unravel. In that instant, secrets cracked open, revealing a darkness deeper than he could fathom. And then it happened. The shadowy man from Jack's past leaned closer, his smile freezing on his face. "You really didn't know," he whispered, voice low and sinister. "Your brother was never dead. He's been right under your nose." "What?" Jack's voice caught in his throat. "What are you talking about?" The man stepped aside, revealing another figure emerging from the shadows, a shadow of his own flesh and blood. It was his brother, eyes cold, expression tight. Jack's breath left him. "No, it can't. I've been waiting," the figure said, voice steady. "Waiting for you to face the truth." The world tilted around Jack. Memories flooded back. Hushed conversations, lost moments, connections severed without his knowing. Everything he thought he understood splintered into confusion. "Emma, get back!" Jack shouted as more men surged forward. But his mind was whirling. What was real? What was a lie? The stakes had just escalated. No one was safe. Time froze as his brother locked eyes with him, everything boiling down to this moment. Jack felt the street slip away beneath him, the darkness creeping closer, ready to consume everything he knew. And just as he was about to grasp the truth, the world exploded around them with a deafening crash. The night erupted in chaos, leaving Jack gasping, caught in the unraveling threads of his own twisted legacy. Jack's heart raced as the shadows closed in, confusion spiraling into panic. The chaos erupted like a thunderstorm, gunfire ricocheting in his mind. He couldn't focus. Dom lay sprawled out, blood pooling around him, and Emma's terrified face snapped him back to reality. He had to protect her. "Get back!" he yelled, pushing her behind him, instinct taking over. His brother stepped closer, a cold smirk on his lips, tainted with familiarity. Jack felt sick. "You don't have to do this," he shouted. "No, but I want to," his brother replied, eyes gleaming with a strange mix of anger and hurt. "You had everything and left me to drown." The crowd surged, menacing figures encircling them like wolves. Jack felt a sudden surge of strength, the kind only love for his daughter could ignite. "I won't let you take her," he roared. The sirens wailed in the distance, a grim reminder that they were on borrowed time. Dom coughed, blood splattering Jack's hands. "Jack, the truth is the only way," he rasped, voice fading. "He's not just your brother, he's our enemy." "No!" Emma cried, confusion blending with fear. "He's my father." Jack turned, shock smashing through him like glass. Whispers flooded his mind, everything swirling together. His brother was alive. But what did that mean? He couldn't focus. How is that possible? "Legacy, Jack!" his brother shouted, anger boiling over. "You were chosen, and I was abandoned. Today is payback." Suddenly, the ground trembled under their feet as heaviness descended. Seconds ticked by like hours. How had everything spiraled out of control? He'd come to save Emma, not to face a family feud tangled in betrayal. "I'm not fighting you," Jack shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. "I want to save her." But his brother stepped closer, brimming with dark energy. "You can't save her from me, or from the truth." As Jack met Emma's terrified gaze, everything shifted. She was fighting for her life, struggling against the fate wrapped around her. "Please, Dad," she sobbed. "We can break the cycle." Jack felt a crack in the storm, a spark of hope igniting. "You're not my enemy," he pleaded, forcing his brother to pause. "Do you really want this for her? Then let's rewrite this story together." In that single breath, alliances formed. The remaining men tensed, weapons ready. But amidst the chaos, uncertainty. Could this family bind together against the storm? Jack glanced at Emma, the fighting spirit lighting her eyes. "Together," he promised, fighting through rising dread. "Together!" Emma echoed. With every ounce of strength remaining, they charged at their foes, love igniting fiery resolve in their hearts. Shadows flickered in the periphery, but they pushed forward, fighting against history. The night raged around them, sirens drawing closer, but their voices merged in a battle cry. As they burst through the darkness, the world outside waited. The path ahead was uncertain, but family, no matter how twisted, could decide to confront their demons. Jack's heart surged with a sense of purpose, a whisper of possibility echoing in his mind. "Now," he yelled, surging forward, and just like that, everything shifted, leaving readers hanging on the inevitable mystery of what would happen next. Hey, listen, this is your moment to join in. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming exclusive stories that will blow your mind. Smash that like button now. It feeds the algorithm and lets everyone know you want more. Flood the comment section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this wild ending. I want to hear from every one of you. And don't wait even a second longer to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this wraps up. True fans know that supporting the channel means everything. So let's make some noise.